So, right off bat, I'll let you know what I was doing just before I was watching. Well, one of the things I was doing before I began recording this video, and that was, of course, watching videos about covert narcissism and codependent bonding over trauma, but not necessarily to negate the fact that you should absolutely build community with people who relate to you, with people who understand that you should never be around people so often who have a lifestyle that they derive joy from bringing you pain and discomfort, which is clearly very unnecessary, right? And what I mean is that they can clearly give you a hand up, and instead of giving you a hand up, they literally go ha, and then they smack you, and it's on purpose. And they think this is normal, whereas you've had so many experiences with people who either become capable or are always capable and endearing at the very least if there's nothing that they can actually do. And so I was actually watching one of the videos of a person going over some of the different steps, right? And it was amazing that she was going over the steps. She was kind of almost going in chronological order with some of the experiences that I've had in different quarters. Now, I just want to say this very clearly. I'm not saying this, and I'm saying anything that I'm never saying anything with a direct desire or need to invalidate the experiences that others have had with me. And I do not always say that it is purely interpretation. However, I've been around some very narcissistic, non-empathetic people, and by non-empathetic I mean they just simply do not possess it. It's not that they're not extending it to you, they literally do not have the neurological response and attunement in order to understand and experience with you what you are going through. Like, they literally do not have it. Again, I keep referencing this, but there are people amongst us, and you might be one of those people, viewer, who may lack that voice in the head, that personal voice in the head. Like when you're reading, you think to yourself. When you're in a shower, you're thinking. You know, you're playing back memories, or you're plotting your move forward, or you're just really going, I'm enjoying myself. When I learned that there were people who didn't have it, I learned this probably almost 10 years ago now with a relative, because she will always count out loud. She had to use her hands. She was always thinking out loud. And I was wondering, like, why does she think out loud? Why does everything she do occur physically in a physical space? Why is there not this space in here? Why does she make certain life choices? Why does she do certain things over and over and over again, and almost has this inability to learn? It's not a learning disability. It's not a handicap in the sense that she cannot go on in life and progress and become engaged with people, but she doesn't have that internal voice. And on my Instagram, I actually just referenced the experience in my childhood with a student, and I wasn't the only one who noticed it. You know, the teacher called this student a motor mouth, where she cannot not talk. And here's the thing for us: if I say A, B, C, you might say 1, 2, 3, or you'll say D, E, F. You'll continue the ABC, or you'll sing a song, or you'll bring up some sort of relevance to share in that moment with me, right? And you're understanding that I just said something, and then I'm understanding you just said something in response to what I said, right? This person, she would go ABC, and you would say 1, 2, 3, and she would go, "What are you talking about?" You know, so I started testing her. I said, after she would say something, because she would just speak incessantly and talk, 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 and she wouldn't pause. Like, I just took a breath. She did not do that. She literally would just talk and talk and talk and talk. So something that I noticed, I asked her after she would finish running her mouth in a tangent. I said, "Do you know what you just said?" And she would go, "I wasn't talking." And I literally made sure I said this in like a group, you know, a circle of people, because I noticed that she had, it was just such, it was a deficit of memory, or was it a deficit of caring that you're constantly speaking, you're constantly talking, and you're constantly talking over people, you're constantly sort of verbally bullying other people, you have no understanding of where others are coming from, despite people explaining themselves, and everyone in the room gets it, but one person doesn't. And recently, again, as an adult, I had this experience again with this personality and character type. And I don't mean to assault anybody. This is literally a review, and this is where people say, I can be cold and calculated sometimes when I speak. But I'm just talking about a review of my experiences, and one of the things that I noticed was I experienced was that recently was that well, not recently, but within the last 10 years again, was that there was somebody who would say things like, and this is one of the things that was on the list about the narcissist and the covert narcissism, was that they'll say things and they go, I didn't say that, or they'll sit and start saying, well, maybe you should record our conversations. But you're always constantly wondering about the authenticity of their suggestions. You're constantly wondering, what do they actually mean? What do they actually commit to after they say it? Do they believe what they say? And why is it that they can remember everything you say and they go tit for tat? And that's what she said, was that they have no connection to you having experience with yourself in relation to them. It's constantly just, I have to, like if you ask them to raise a plant, they probably couldn't. Because that would mean they would have to pay attention to the life and the quality of this plant. And like, let me be honest, I notice a lot of these people don't have plants and pets and things that they have to actually pay attention to. They have materials, they have objects, and they have people, but you wonder often, do they really care about those people, right? Another quality that I noticed was constantly wanting to ruin my social network or ruin my life in different categories. But if I even seem to be suspected of talking to someone in their network, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And but they literally have no shame in trying to hurt you. Now, people can say again, Zay, I've seen you have outbursts. I have. And I've spoken with those individuals and apologized to them and cleared things up as necessary. Because I'm able to self-review and to analyze and to make changes and to improve going forward. And that's not just something I'm saying about myself. That's something that I've heard from my elders. That is something I've heard from other youth. I've been told that I should be a lawyer, some type of justice, or some type of advocate from the time that I was in elementary school. However, I'm just self-obsessive about analyzing myself and other things, because that's my way of connecting to the world before I get to those other layers, right? So before I actually go and purchase a plant, I go read a book about it, I'll talk to other people about it, and then I take care of it. But I'm kind of getting away from what I said I wanted to talk about. And oh yeah, hey, how you doing, Joseph? I know I don't really be out here like that, but I'm here. I'm still out here. How you doing? Thanks for being in the comment section. You can definitely contribute because this is live. This is live. So I just want to say, going forward, I'm not hesitating. This is the thing. People think because I'm not where they think I should be at the point which I am, that I'm not moving. But I've literally been achieving tasks and doing things that I've been planning for 10, 20 years. Like, I'm one of those people, I have to plot really thick book of spontaneity, and then I go and do all of it, but not when you think I will. And a part of that is having to be safe, right? I'm trans. I don't know why people think like having some level of passability is all it takes. And my camera cut out, but I actually want to go to the desktop, and I'm going to actually change the window for a second. So let me modify this right quick to this text document I want to get us into right quick. So let us go. Let us go. I have to move it up there. So ignore my OBS in the background. So let's go back over here. We're over here now, right? It doesn't matter. You don't need to see my face right now. So 2021, we're not saying 2020 has prevailed over us, but in the year 2021, some things we're not going to do. Thank you, computer, for correcting that. Caring about indecent people. And I mean people who cannot seem to treat anyone or others with any apparent level of decency. And excuse my screen again. Yes, I have tons of things up. You'll get over it. I don't know why is this scene not switching. I don't like when it does that. So, care about indecent people. I know care about is kind of a heavy term, because you don't have to care about people directly to be a service person. So if you don't understand what I mean, ask me. I'm right here. What I mean by not caring about indecent people is overextending ourselves. That's an issue I could definitely say I suffer from, is constantly wanting to do more than what I believe or expect I can do. And so I'm constantly trying to excel. Maybe that's because where I come from, the motto is excellence. I'm not quite sure. However, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it. I know. I'm just not doing it again. This is hey, how you doing, the Lord Shepherd? I appreciate your name and I'm glad that you're here. The one of the things that I can definitely say in a large way I'm not doing anymore is overextending myself to people who seem to very clearly and very apparently lack that empathy. And I realize, and like I said, it's a neurological thing because they literally do not have the neurological response and activity in the brain, in the body. They're not sensible people. They're not sensate. They can make I would say they can make rational choices. However, a lot of them are not, in fact, or indeed. What I mean by indeed, they're not rational in their act or in their actions. So let me see if I get this camera back on. Okay. I guess it just wants to be finicky. It wants to be finicky. Okay, it's just gonna keep doing that. You see it. You see it. You know what it is. So anyway. Overextending ourselves to indecent people. What we're not doing is breaking our own boundaries. I had someone do this with me so many times that, you try to give someone a break because it takes time to really learn how to do things in a very consistent manner. You might learn how to ride a bike, but can you do everything that you are to the exact approximation every single time you do it while you're new to it? Probably not. Like the first time I started frying fish, not many times I messed up. I messed up so many times with like finding the right balance in the batter, finding the right amount of salt to use, especially when I switched from pink Himalayan salt to the white salt, to the table salt. It was a bit difficult, right? A bit. It was very difficult. Ask my pops. I was messing up a lot of meals. I was wasting a lot of food. So I had to take a little bit of time to stop and review myself. But like I said, one of the things they won't have is that strong skill of self-review and accountability. They can point a finger at you. They can tell everybody what you did, but they never come back to the room to sit down with you in a fair one-to-one environment, right? Something I want to say? I want to say this. I'm not going to be shamed for my sexual choices as a trans person or as a anything. One of the things I definitely experienced, and I was very surprised to have gone through this, was a trans person saying to me, "Oh well," and this is a part of the list of things narcissists do to make you feel bad about yourself, right? Is, well, why don't you want to have sex with me? Mind you, my grandmother just passed away. I had another relative who passed away recently, and then I had a close friend of mine who passed away all within a year, right? And so I never really got to mourn any of those individuals because of the fact that even within the environment that I was in at that time, they had beef with one of the people that was alive. I'm not going to say who or the relationship, but it was very difficult to have my own personal space without feeling attacked for having affection towards the person who passed away and not being allowed the space to properly honor them. And it's not and when I say allowed, I'm not saying that it was up to someone to give me permission, but like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, back up. Like, let me grow my garden without you trampling my flowers. That's what I mean, like, by allowing me. If you come and trample my flowers, or you say pull yourself by your bootstraps, and then every time I go to put my boots on, you done took them and put them out in the trash, or you lit them on fire, I got a problem with you. And for some reason, there's those people who do that. They'll light your shit on fire. They'll take you out of control on purpose, knowingly. And then some of the people around you believe that you're the issue. People around you who've known you all your life start to go, maybe it's you. So I was going through a lot of gaslighting, and I had to distance myself, but it took a lot of time to get to the bottom and the root of why that was even occurring. Why was I in a space repeatedly with people who had the need to bring me down? You ever feel so good about yourself and you be in a room and you see somebody go, just because they laid their eyes on you. What can you do for that person, right? Now, me, I'm a Leo. I don't like when folks get down like that. I don't like when folks get upset like that for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like when, people get all in their feelings. Because as a Leo, you want to guide and lead people to that relationship with the sun that you personally feel you have, which is, it's abundance enough for us all. There's abundance enough for us all to feel whole within ourselves. There's enough for us to grasp out here. There's enough for us to give. There's enough for us to receive it if we so wish to receive it. So sometimes we go through these issues where people around us can complicate our ability to understand why we here. And then you realize out of the 100 people you met, that's the only one you having that problem with. The other thing that the lady was talking about was people who say stuff like nobody understands you. And I had to laugh so hard at that one because I only had 2 people say that to me. And they were the type of people who don't understand anything, right? Like I said, about the girl who ran her mouth so much. The teacher called her a motor mouth. And if you asked her, do you know what you just said 5 minutes ago? And she goes, no. She has no responsibility to what she comes out of her mouth. She has no responsibility to how she has an impact on others. She has no responsibility for herself. If she ruins her relationship at a job, she'll never understand or will try and understand. I don't know if she has the capacity even to assess why the relationship at her job went so poorly. I have a relative who was the same way. And I mean, this motherfucker called me, accusing me of saying things to him I did not say. And there was a witness there that day who also agreed I didn't say any of the things he accused me of. But then I said, maybe we some mind readers, because I definitely thought it. But did I say it out loud? I think it's fair to have your opinion to someone else's distaste, but myself, I'm okay with disregarding my opinion because I know that I am judgmental. I know that I am. And I know to the extent I can be judgmental and how disturbing, right? And so that's a part of why I do so much learning and researching, because it is difficult for me to connect sometimes in that way with others where my judgment sort of preconceives a notion. I agree, but I just focus on Allah and Quran and it helps me. I want to read the full Quran in 2021. Is this resolutions? It's a bit of resolutions, but it's really just a time and space for me to talk about in a safe space, right? Where I'm not being attacked by racists, I'm not being attacked by transphobic people, I'm not having to fight off or even feel like I have to see, things I don't want to see. Like, I'm getting to the point where in 2021, I'm just really not doing the things that I used to do or in the way that I used to. I'm still going to be me. And I'm still going to be the person who speaks up sometimes because, like I said, I recognize the reason why I found space in this world and in myself was because that lady at church saw that I was being pushed away by the people up there in the pew. She saw that I was being pushed away and out of the community, despite being, 5, 6, 7 years old. And she put me up there and said, you have a voice and I want you to find it and use it. And I never forget standing up there, the smallest person up there, feeling extremely corrupted. And then she stared at me from the stands where everybody questioned, why are they up there? What is it? Is that a boy? Is that a girl? What is that? That child is an abomination. But they literally took no moment to respect me and to just understand who I was, right? I had to tell my grandmama I went to church and they would start preaching sermons, staring right in my face about what a sinner I was. And again, I was a child. And yet those same adults standing on stage calling me a sinner and projecting sexualities onto me were the same ones that if they had a moment alone with me, oh, get off me, they touching me. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just literally having to keep myself over and over again. Now, people say, well, go read. I read. I read 4, 5 books at one time. I pick up a lot of information. I read the Bible. I've read the Quran in many instances. I've looked into Buddhism. I've done much to keep myself busy, but then you realize you just keep yourself busy because it's convenient. You realize you've been running around in circles. You ain't got nothing to be running for. What you running for? You can go be growing something in the garden. You can literally be growing a garden right now. And have that touch and experience with life. You know what I mean? Not having to constantly overly rely and depend on somebody or something. You know what I mean? Constantly needing something to fill your space. Constantly needing some way to navigate away from something. I kept having people every time, ever since I was young. Well, don't be like this in public. Oh, don't do that. You gotta be a better black woman than a black man and a white man and a white woman. You gotta be a better thinker, learner than everybody around you by 4 or 5 times. So any A I get, it needs to be an A+++. I felt like there was nothing that I could really achieve. Especially when I even tried to go to the army and they said, no, you are clearly too much of what you are, ho. Literally. I'm in JROTC. some people don't think I should have the position I should have because you know how you gotta wear the certain pieces. You can wear a tie, or you can wear the little other one that tells people that you're a female or you're a woman or you're feminine. And I constantly kept getting taken to the office because they kept saying you wearing the wrong uniform. What do you think this is? And they constantly had to keep notifying everybody in there. This is what they are. They look like they do, but you need to understand everybody don't look the same. So I literally just have had so much put on me that now that I'm older, I know that I'm gonna survive because I survived it when it was more threatening to me. Um, I'm just taking this moment to realize that this is not just about a new year. This is almost like my life is starting over. Um, and so I wanted to share a space because I know I don't come out here enough, right? I don't talk enough about what's really on my mind and what's really going on. So you're saying, I feel you. My life is a lie. I'm a trans woman who was a secret Muslim. Life sucks. You know, I could definitely feel that because I definitely have love in me for the Lord. And I ended up in a position where I wasn't sharing with certain intimate partners, right? Certain ones that I had such a spiritual experience in my life, and yet anytime I would reveal it or I would speak to it, they go, "Oh, you just, oh, you know, all this attitude," and it was just part of it was because it was new to them. They thought it was, out of some control, but in reality, I was just so tired of having to defend who I am versus the contradiction people think that God put on me. And I just was like, you know what, I'm tired of over explaining myself. And so I just left it alone. And I would just be my spiritual self for by myself, But as a spiritual person, you like to share, because you know that there's wealth of abundance in the world. And you know that that the Lord is in you. And you know that his word is in you. And maybe there's different interpretations that different cultures and people put it through, but it is present. God is supreme. God is the backbone. You know what I'm saying? So, you probably see it up here in the corner right now. Can you see that? Look, I got something open right now. What? Don't ask me to say that word. I've been trying to say it for like an hour and it hasn't come out. But there's a time for everything. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. And that's where we're at right now. Refraining from embracing. I saw someone say something like, we had to adopt social distancing as a way to show love. And I can't tell you how hurtful it is right now to be going through some of this where, someone is on a verge of illness or is ill and I can't go see them. And it's not that I can't, I just won't because I don't want to potentially pass something. I have neighbors I'm not talking to. I have a person, my dad I live with that sometimes I completely isolate myself from if I feel like I don't want to be shedding something off. Because I remember when COVID first hit and they said, the socially distance, and I almost cussed somebody out because she was standing in line next to me and she was very visibly red. She's, lighter skin. She was visibly swollen and puffy. She's coughing and she's trying not to do that nasty cough because now at that point she had pneumonia. You can smell it. You can smell the mucus. You can smell the fluid buildup. And as I stood in the space that she was once standing in, I actually you could feel it crawling on your neck. And I said, this shit is intelligent. I said, this is not no regular virus. I have never felt, the flu crawling in my neck, trying to break down my defenses. And I literally grabbed the magazine and I fanned it. And I looked at her and I looked at her boyfriend and said, it's two of you. One of you could have stayed at home or at the very least in the car. Why did you bring her sick ass up here? And I looked at her and said, why did you bring your sick ass up here? Excuse me, I know I got word up here and I'm cussing, but look, I can't be too righteous. But I was like, why did you come up here? You're literally visibly sick. Same case where I saw a family of 5. It was a mama, a father, and 3 children. And again, the mama walking around visibly sick. I mean, when I went to the water aisle, the air of sickness was so thick. Like you could eat the flu and the COVID out the air. And like I said, once you feel that thing crawling, I never felt a virus crawling on my body before. I've had the cold. I've had the flu one time from the shot, and I never did it again, never caught the flu again. So I was just like, whoa, this is different. I don't care what anyone says. Most people are not doing research. They're not reading the medical journals. They're reading the articles that are that come from it, but people are surmising their own information. They're coming up with their own sums. You have to read the actual medical article, and if you don't understand it, that's exactly the people I want to talk to. You need to shut up and go read, because it's different in every country. Everybody's reporting something different, but you understand everybody in every country has a different history about how they got there at this point. So everyone's not living in the same time period, despite it being 2021 here in America. So I'm coming back to this section, and I'm reading what you're saying, the Lord Shepherd, and you said, I feel you, my life is a lie, I'm a trans woman who's a secret Muslim. I cannot stand people like that. All they all say they live like Jesus, but they don't. And I ain't want to say no one is the religion they associate with, but some of them act fake. I'm really sorry to hear that happen to you. My girlfriend is the only one who understands, so thank God for her. It's great how I, a Muslim, and you, a Christian, can get along, especially after what you were talking about, other people being mean. Like, if we can't get along, if we can get along and we different, why can't the world follow along? Well, first of all, I don't necessarily call myself a Christian, because again, I read a lot of different texts. And I find it very difficult to call myself a Christian, given that that's not the title we necessarily had in my lineage. You know what I mean? Not just my skin tone. If you're just looking at my skin color, that's wrong. But in my lineage, just attributing Christianity is sort of like the baby version of where it's the offspring of something much larger. You know what I'm saying? So Christianity to me is the offspring of the father and the mama and the house, the mansion that was already built. So Christianity to me is sort of like a guide, a very confusing one in many instances. I've read the Quran, and to me it's very straightforward, and I appreciate it for that. But I also read it and very clearly understood certain things within the Quran were about protecting oneself, protecting one's holiness and your crown. The Christianity version, no matter almost what interpretation you read of it, it almost sounds like it's constantly pointing a finger at you. But each version of the texts that are in the book are meant for different people, and sometimes we take out of context who the orders and commandments are for. Just as there are some things in there that says it allows exceptions for certain types of harm, right? Like if a woman is hurt by a man who, while she is pregnant, and he harms the baby, he shall be hurt in an equal amount compared to how he hurt the baby. And if the baby is killed, you know what I'm saying? So, that thing about an eye for an eye, a lot of people don't finish the quote. And they take out of context who said it and why they said it. But also, I'm not the wisest person. So, it's difficult for me to say I'm a Christian, but I'm also the type of person to be a photographer for 10 years and I call myself one. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. It could be confusing. I think sometimes I don't want to latch on to the title because I'm tired of having the argument. My spirituality and whatever religious practice I have, whether it's a world religion or it's a personal religion, I don't really feel like that's a topic or target of debate. If I want to mention it, I'm going to mention it. It's just like if I talk about my favorite color, but it's not for anybody to sort of denigrate and talk down on and try to draw conclusions from. It's absolutely not. That's just where I draw my inner world and inner peace from. It's a part of my system of principalities. People talk about morals, but principles are what you build your morals upon, and then your values come because your morals tell you what you should value and hold as worth and worthy and valuable, right? And so there's these systems of hierarchy you have to go through before you actually make a layer cake, right? So you got to do all these layers to your cake, and all of them are not the same and made of the same equal parts. You know what I mean? No. We taking it easy in here. So I said I was gonna talk about some resolutions, but a part of the resolution is taking the time to read, different texts and read the word. The oldest book in the world by, I'm probably gonna butcher this, Hotep. That's definitely the book that I prefer to read when it comes to understanding how one should carry and justify oneself. Um, so I think that is definitely a resolution, is to finish that book and to read it probably 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, write a few essay pieces on it. Um, one of my resolutions is to be more transparent about what I do and what I have going on, and not to hesitate so much, not to um, down myself when I get unsure and doubt myself as much as I have in the past. I want to continue to build my confidence. I want to continue to believe that I am alive and that I deserve to be alive and living, despite the constant attacks I've had from, I'm going to say it, black men, and the abandonment of black men, the trafficking attempts of black men in my communities, And is it in being told, shh, don't say that? I'm tired of it. How many of us have grown up in households with people who are trying to hurt us, and everybody's going, well, you just need to change yourself. You need to change your behavior. You need to change what you're wearing. You need to change your identity. You need to change this. You need to change that. Just change, and it should be okay. When literally the person has been haunting you since you were a child or since you were young. And I'm trying to figure out, and I had to start fighting back with certain folks, and I'm like, at what point did I deserve this exchange? This person is 12, 13, 14, 15 years older than me. They were given a position of care over me, and instead they abused and harmed me. Why should I care about this person now that I'm older and I have a choice to not be around them? Now I have a choice to choose if I want them around me or not. I don't have to tolerate people the same way they are obviously choosing not to tolerate me. It's just this habit in the community, in family, I mean, to force people to tolerate bullcrap. And I'm a leader. I'm not, like I told my mom, I said, I'm not scared to whip a grown man, because I was scared for a while, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going, but that's literally the same demon trying to take my life. And I mean, literally, a demon told me he was trying to take my life. And once I spoke up and owned that fact, it made them weaker. And the other people going, I see this shadow trying to get me. And I say, well, because it couldn't get me. And I knew it was going to come and try to get you. I'm glad you noticed it. Protect yourself. And so I realized there is a duty in the relationship we have to speaking up the righteousness about the evil in the spirit world. There are people conjuring darkness and spewing it upon you. There are people who are actually working rules. Now, I've heard about it. I'm part African, so an African descendant. So a part of our conversations is about people who work roots. I know you probably heard that phrase before, right? And so, it sort of was always just a concept, right? It wasn't something that I actually thought people were going to do to me. I didn't think it was something that people would do to someone I know or someone in my family. I didn't think it was something that I was going to have to live with. But as I started to talk to individuals who cared about me and who were around me through different phases in my life and different stages, they said, I know that darkness isn't you, but I know something clearly is following you. Something wants you. Something has been trying to get you. I never forget this young lady. Her mama said, somebody in her family was like, yo, something is trying to get that child. Something's trying to take that child. But you want to know something weird? When I went into that person's basement, because something was like, yo, something not right in here. Something is not right. I went into the basement. I saw a slender black man. And I don't mean like a black man. I mean a slender black being in that basement. And if something was like, that girl up there who's about to come down these stairs and stay next to you, bless your heart for being with her right now. Because y'all can see, y'all different. People talk about, like I actually said this to somebody. I was talking about how I've been having premonitions about blessings. I've been having premonitions about the strength and courage I have to overcome the things that happen to me. I've had near-death experiences, and I had premonitions about them 10, 15 years before they happened. And I was talking about how my faith is getting stronger, because the more I am not afraid and I stop attuning to the fearful side of the visions I was having, and the more I attune to the love frequency, the fear in my heart and my dreams and my reality and my practices and the people around me started to fall away. And somehow when I went to happily have this conversation with someone who I will call an elder, because I'm not going to name the relationship state. But I said, I noticed this thing happening, and my faith is getting stronger by the minute, not by the day, by the minute. They said, well, the devil sent message too. And I'm like, I notice you tend to reference the devil a lot when I say this. I go, thank you, and you go, the devil. You seem to give a lot of credit to the devil. And that's a resolution for me. I'm not giving credit to the devil. First of all, you ever see Coach Carter, I think it was, he was like, yeah, your parents raised you up and you do all this, and you go, yeah, I did that. No, they taught you how to tie your shoes. Stop patting yourself on the back before the game is over. Stop celebrating too early, or stop getting your hopes up or getting your hopes all the way down. So it's like, I was just like, whoa. I'm telling you that I'm learning it's okay to understand my worth. And the first thing you say is, well, Satan liked to send visions too. And I just remember, I loved Joseph when I read the Bible. I loved the story of Joseph. I love the story of Joseph. So I'm coming back to what you're saying. I got you. I plan on going to university to do religious studies, so this subject interests me. You said a mouthful, 1,000%. You know, I like studying philosophy, psychoanalytics, psychiatry, psychology, anything with ology on the end of it, anthropology, sociology. I went to a lot of different list of after I couldn't join the army because I actually had a whole life planned about if I joined the Air Force I had a whole thing planned out, but I couldn't join. I was denied on site. um, it's it threw me off a bit. Like I said, I voluntarily stayed in the JROTC. I wanted to go honor guard, but I started having back spasms, and so I a lot of the things I wanted in life, I had to sort of put it on the back burner for a little while, and so I ended up going to school for art. I started to go to school for graphic design. That wasn't my first choice. After I said I couldn't go Air Force and I can't do the sports and everything that I wanted to do, I said, well, I at least would like to join a trade, get a trade, and pay for my creative learning at my own space at home or in the office, because as I suspected when I went to school, it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. I'm gonna just leave it at that. So my next point is that I'm going to focus more on investing. Um, and not just in myself, because I want to start funds. I want to do a lot bigger things that I've done in the past. Life has been fun, but it's also been a lot about survival and just trying to ignore the fact that I know that I have been threatened by a lot of entities around me, that people are working roots, people are literally doing witchcraft against me, people are sending evil eye, people are trying to choke me, people are trying to block me, people are trying to talk me out of pursuing opportunities. But spirit doesn't want that. There should be no shame for you. Be bold. Be of the living. Be of the living. And see, I see you said, I was going to join the army too, but I realized I never wanted to fight in the war we had no business in. But I respect any veteran and any active member. They are the reason we can chat like this. Yeah, we got family, who have served. We got people in the neighborhood who served or whose children are serving now. And you really share the sentiment with them that, some of them, they get into things before they really wanted to. And I actually was thankful that the Lord didn't let me go into the army and serve, because if you know about the man in California who was a black man in California, let me see if I can find it now that we're sitting here talking. Let me see, black man, California. Military. He was a military guy, so I'm gonna see if I can find him. No, not him. Not him. I forget his name again. Christopher Dorn. I knew as soon as I saw it. What made a police officer kill? He was tired of being profiled and racially beat down. He was a brilliant person. A brilliant person. And he felt like he had to be a martyr. He felt like he just couldn't tolerate it no more. He shocked the world when he took up arms against ex-colleagues and their families. This week, after a 9-day manhunt, this was in 2013, February, the college graduate was cornered and died in a remote cabin. What made him go bad remains hard to understand, they say. But we understand the lone wolf. We understand Dylan going and shooting the church. We understand why the black girls got killed in the church. We understand. No, they know exactly, because he even wrote a manifesto about it. And then they went back in his history and saw that he kept getting ticked at and ticked and ticked and picked at, despite him being an extraordinary person. Now, he might not have been the best. How many of you are? But he didn't deserve what they were giving him necessarily. So this is violent. This is violent. So he was accused of murdering the daughter of an ex-LAPD captain and her fiance on the 3rd of February, shooting dead an officer in cold blood. They used all this harsh language. He literally said, I'm tired of this system. He was tired of the system. In a rambling 6,000-word manifesto he posted online as the rampage began, he unleashed his rage and bitterness, and at the racism he insisted remained rife in the force 2 decades after the beating of black suspect Rodney King by white officers. I saw that in my first few years of life. I saw that many, many times, the beating of Rodney King, and it was so upsetting because every one of the people in my household were saying that they were so tired of being pulled over for nothing. And even I had that experience in my county, which is predominantly black. Even I, as a youth, had that same experience. I keep telling people, my parents, when they was going to school, it was just getting rid of segregation. And now you talk about people who watched gay marriage become legalized, and yet the tensions didn't stop. Where do you think the lynching stopped and love began? Like, all the races just said, yeah, you know, you're right, I stand down, we all friends. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Like the racism just dropped off the planet Earth. Like, I sprayed one roach or raid, and now suddenly there's no infestation. Where do you think all the money from all that stuff went? Where do you think all the business people who were tied in that, whose lives depended on that? Where do you think that the tired mamas with all their breast milk in some little girl's mouth went? Where do you think the parents who watched their children hanging from trees went? Like, come on, baby. Baby. What do you think the children who've been beat up in these boarding schools have to go back to after having their minds deluded so hard? But like I said, I'm not making room for these people no more because I understand exactly what happened. Exactly. I understand what happened. And it's not really in my interest or care to have a conversation with somebody that you need to do for what you can't do for them. You know, people want to say a lot of things about me, but then their science literally just come back and back up everything indigenous people are and have been saying. Their science is literally saying, hey, you know, those people that were in Africa about 4,000 years ago, they knew the star constellation. Here's the thing, I've seen constellations and I got bad eyesight and I just knew it was there and I drew it out and I had the name on my mind, and then when I went and Googled it, it existed. I'm learning how to do complex math overnight. People don't understand the power of love and how quickly you could be remade through it. Because here's the thing, it wasn't a love for the world, it was a love for God in my life. You know, here's the part that I like about this one right here. So, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? This is the part I like. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. What is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked, for there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. I also said to myself, as for humans, God tests them so that they may see that they are like the animals. Surely that the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place. All come from dust, and to dust all return. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward and if the spirit of the animal goes down to the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? I've had fun finding this. I mean, I was minding my business and I was having a thought and I started to think, wait, I have a question. And then literally not even 5 minutes later, I see on Instagram someone said that. They said, you know, I'm not going to say it because my mouth is my tongue. I'm a little tongue tied right now. But somebody said this on Instagram and I Googled it and I looked it up and I said, that's exactly the conversation I wanted to have. That is exactly what I was hoping to see. So happy to see you. I'm happy to see you too. I always see your name everywhere, man. I always so happy to see you pop up. If anything, my religion and girlfriend taught me to be bold, like you said. I am going back to university, like I mentioned earlier, despite my family's wishes. I think the chats are delayed. They are, but I'm also switching back on screen, so I have long thoughts. I'm a little long-winded, and people keep accusing me of being a drug addict because I have full thoughts and I speak in full sentences and I understand logic and rationality. People keep saying, "Oh, what you on?" I'm like, "On God." What drug you on, God? And I don't like to be that person to say things like that, but at the same time, I'm gonna be bold because you know what I'm tired of doing, and what I'm not doing 2021 is laying down for people. I'm not laying down in I'm not laying down in dead pose, baby. I'm waking up. I've been woke, but I got to tell you because a lot of people thought I was sleeping. They came over there poking me, but because I was so calm, you know, I did a lot of meditation with the ambient music, and my brain waves got all spaced out. I be operating at above 300 hertz every time I'm out here, and people go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you must be on drugs." And I'm like, "Baby, just because your brain don't snap off the way that I do, don't mean nothing. I'm a rapper. I freestyle. I practice freeing myself. I practice being visceral. I practice, you know, not being stuck." But then I realized that is not simply an ability for everyone to just choose. I'm really learning that everyone is not able. You know, I have multiple relatives who have physical disabilities, which render them extremely handicapped. I have relatives who, in addition to a physical disability, have a mental handicap. And I never took that to mean they were spiritually withdrawn, however. They're very fast and almost to the point that that's what slows them down. Is that in his world, they're lightning. But the physical embodiment of them, they're not. But they are teaching those individuals whom are their caretakers a lesson. And he told me that himself. He might not have been able to speak to me at a capacity, but he told me himself. And here's the thing that I learned about him. So they said, "Oh, he's not, you confuse the children, you confuse the children." He has a learning disability. And yet he was able to relearn my name. He, like, when he was born, for what, 50, I don't know, 10 years of his life, with his handicap and his difference in ability, he was able to adopt my new name and accept me and love me either way. And he would say, "Take my hand, grab my hand, give me a kiss, give me a hug, mwah, mwah." He didn't treat me no different, and I mean, I cried because these people who were completely able-minded and able-bodied had something to say about me. And my own grandma and my mom and my daddy and everybody on the other side of the family didn't. They embraced me, and I cried at a Thanksgiving dinner because the family came around me with love and said, "Why didn't you tell us?" They saw me on YouTube before I said it with my chest because they knew that I was scared that I was going to be rejected. And I went home again and I cried because I was like, I really thought that they weren't going to love me because these two people who I once called family did that to me. Did that to somebody I love, not just me. Because I'm not the only, you know, person of my kind who's been around. So I said, you know, they can say what they want about who they are, but I know how you treated me during my time of need. I'm not doing it no more. So, true, it ain't bad socially here in Canada like it is in the United States, but we still need to make progress. The Lord Shepherd says, "Never will you attain the good reward until you spend in the way of Allah from that which you love. And whatever you spend, indeed Allah is knowing of it." Never will you attain the good until you spend from that which you love. You have to reject it. You say, "Whatsoever you begin to love, you shall lose it." And whatever you spend, indeed, Allah is knowing of it. Allah does not forbid you from being kind and just with those who do not fight you because of religion and do not expel you from your homes. Verily, Allah loves those who act justly. The last verse refers to non-Muslims. We must be kind to them. And I actually had a question because I don't like dressing in this manner. I don't like the idea of having an ensemble where it's top and then bottom and then it's there split at the part where this doesn't make sense. Your blood is flowing from top to bottom. Your blood is flowing. You got neurological stuff going up and down. You got a lot of things important here in this core area. Why then do we cinch it? And then we're cutting off some very important parts of our body and our ability. I don't like dressing like this, so I had a question: Is it am I allowed? Is it lawful for me to wear? Well, let me see. If this is is it law? Is this what I'm? What is this? I don't know exactly the name because I'm really looking for a style, a tunic. That's one way to refer to it. A tunic, right? So I wanted to know if it was okay for me to dress like this, right? Because you know I was around somebody who has a problem, you know, always talking about, oh, that's appropriative and using all this social justice language, but don't nobody ever want to truly be social with them. So who are you saving? Okay, I'm trying to find just the picture. Like, I really just want to see the picture. So anyway, yeah, I had an item very similar to this, what this person is wearing. I'm sorry, I'm swinging the screen around. But I had something very similar to that. It wasn't necessarily as long, but I had almost the same color. And they, and when I put it on, they said, "Wow, that looks really good on you. I think you should wear it, but be careful." But once I did some research and I actually heard from multiple people themselves, and as you just provided the actual word, is that you want people to have joy, and so you want them to be comfortable. And so if this is a better choice, then please make that choice. You are allowed and you are even welcome and encouraged to partake in our systems, in our social systems, and in our laws and our personal keepings of ourselves. And I agree with this style of dress. I believe you should be able to wear something like that and not be accused of whatever in the world, And I find it amazing that there was some social cause that was pushing, oh, it's controlling, as if they haven't been beating their women, and justifying it with the Bible, despite the Bible saying a man nor a woman nor a child are here to be dominated and oppressed. That is a misgiving. And when people go, well, it does say that women are not supposed to speak here and they're not supposed to do this, they were talking about a very specific set of people who were doing something very different in the first place. And so to help them fix it and to move along to a better place, he was saying you should very conditionally put in place some conditions so that you can heal. And once that healing is up, then men and women shall be permitted. It was basically saying, I want to keep a certain virus from spreading to the people who are righteous and who are losing control because someone is coming through and sort of trying to outlaw you. You are not supposed to be dominated by them, and they are not to be dominated by you. However, until this can be resolved, those people from over there, they gonna have to have a seat. So it's really, you really have to understand who the Bible and who the speaker and the writer are talking to and about. And you got to flip back through a lot of pages. But that's why I say I like to read the oldest book in the world, because it's just it's so much more clearer. Like turn the other cheek. But then it expands further on that. So let me see if I can find that. Um, this book right here. You see it? Screenshot. You see it? Yep, you see it. I wonder if I could find just an excerpt where, because I don't have the book on me at the time. The maxims, yes. The instruction, right? It's an ancient Egyptian, African, literary composition based on the vizier Ptahhotep's wisdom and experiences. Excuse me. I just want to say I also grew an inch this year. It was very random. You all can find this. You saw it. You can see it. You can rewind and go back and see this information. But I'm trying to go back. Let's see a few things. Great is the law. All conduct should be straight so that you can measure it with a plumb line. Injustice exists in abundance, but evil can never succeed in the long run. Punish with principle, teach meaningfully. The act of stopping evil leads to the lasting establishment of virtue. The human race never accomplishes anything. It's what God commands that gets done. Those whom God guides do not go wrong. Those whose boat he takes away cannot cross the lake. Follow your heart all your life. Do not commit excess with respect to what has been ordained. If you work hard and if growth takes place as it should in the fields, it is because God has placed abundance in your hands. Do not gossip in your neighborhood because people respect the silent. Listening benefits the listener. If he who listens fully, then he who listens becomes he who understands. And he loves listeners. He who listens becomes the master of what is profitable. To listen is better than anything, thus is born perfect love. God loves him who listens. He hates those who do not listen. As for the ignorant man who does not listen, he accomplishes nothing. He equates knowledge with ignorance, the useless with the harmful. He does everything which is detestable, so people get angry with him each day. A perfect world is hidden more deeply than precious stones. It is to be found near the servants working at the millstone. Only speak when you have something worth saying. Love your wife with passion. A woman with happy heart brings equilibrium. As for those who end up continually lusting after women, none of their plans will succeed. No comment. How wonderful is a son who obeys his father. Now, these are the same statements that are in the Christian Bible. And I know the Quran has the same sentiments. And I find amongst so many religions at the thick of it, they're saying the same thing. Now, there might be topical degrees, but that's like the difference between if my son, who has a really bright personality, goes and get a house, I'm going to give him different direction than my son who might have a depression disorder. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to treat them differently. And sometimes people take out of context the treatment of different conditions. At the heart of it all is the love. And it is blind. It is blind love. It's a love that we can't see. Because it's so far from us. And do not blame those who are childless. Do not criticize them for not having any, and do not boast about having them yourself. This is just these are just parts that are taken out, and this is not even what I was looking for. I was looking for references to turning the other cheek, because once I read it in this book, oh, there's a PDF. Once I read it in this book, I was very shocked to see. There's a PDF. So let me come over here, because you type and I'm interested. So Allah does not forbid you from being kind and just with those who do not fight you because of religion and do not expel you from your homes. Verily, Allah loves those who act justly. The last verse refers to non-Muslims. We must be kind to them. It doesn't matter what you wear. We, in my belief, all come from one God. From one God, whether you believe in God or not. Therefore, I see us as family. We should all be kind. I know a Muslim rapper, actually. A lot of people criticize him online because it doesn't represent Islam, but they don't look at the words. They judge him before themselves, which is correct. There's a genre in my area called go-go, not to be confused with club music and go-go dancing. It's a form of African, Native American, maybe even Caribbean. I'm not even sure, but it's a mix of the African descendants still retaining their culture. They're playing congos, bongos, and playing various drums, and sometimes they played with trash cans if that was all they had. But that was something you used to find on every corner. However, they started doing a Christian genre. Some of the kids say, I want to do go-go, but I want to profess my love for God while I get down to the bounce beat. There's no go-go I can recommend for you because it is very. You have to find your taste. Oh, if you ever heard a song by Jill Scott, R&B artist from Philly, y'all, Jillscott, Jill Scott. She did a song with Rare Essence called "It's Love." Love, 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 love. Then Chuck Brown. Maybe those are some names you can start with if you're not familiar. But people judged it very dangerously. And here's the thing: at every other go-go event, everybody was getting shot up, stabbed, robbed, just wow happening. The Christian go-go was so benevolent. So anyway, I'm not sure how to say the name, but Sadiq, look him up. Specifically his song Mashallah, 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 excuse me, which means God has willed it. I feel he would answer your question. I have respect for them because he worships God in the way he wants. He is bold. You're not spamming me. This is a conversation that I would like to share with you, and I'm happy to do so. So, is this actually a copy right here? Let's see. Okay. I mean, pages. Instruct a noble in such things as to be profitable unto him, cause that he be received among men. Let his satisfaction fall on his master. I think this is a real copy with someone else's stuff in it. There might be some stuff missing. I'll say just find the original copy. How did this become full screen? The Alchemy of Happiness. Taoist teaching. The sayings of Confucius. I don't know where this came from. So let me get this off the screen for a moment. You're not spamming at all. So let me come up here and see who you were talking about. Can you put a phonetic spelling of their name? I would like to be able to say it without like knowing I'm about to embarrass myself. Hmm. I'm trying to find a piece. Nah, okay. Not gonna let me do that. I'm trying to find a piece right fast. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it if I play it. Let me see. You said find a song. Masala. I have heard. I forgot. I'm so comfortable in my own. I forgot I had my own. I want to get taken out. I'm about to say I have to admit this year actually beginning of the year, early of the year, I actually did do some prayers that were I'm not logged into their account, but I did do some Muslim prayers and followed along with the children's prayers because it's easier to follow with the child's voice and the speed. So I actually did do that, and I found I tell you there's peace in using a certain phonetic, and that's often what I don't find in English. Is that I have to use more words and more characters and more sounds and more energy and more shaping of the throat and tongue to get the same effect I would if I just spoke in gibberish or if I spoke another language or if I spoke a different tongue. Say I didn't forget. I almost just forgot to mention that, but I actually did. What did I say? I actually did do this a few times. Let's see if I can see the ones I did. It's yeah, it was I did click on that one. Um, the ones I did, they were oriented towards children with the animation and using of the child's voice. Um, because I'm someone I like to have my time to pray. I in the past I went through something that was very I didn't understand it because I was in the house. I was in the house and I was just trying to meditate. I had my music playing, very soft music playing. I had my candles lit, and I was just doing my breath practice. I was sitting and making sure my spine was nice and healthy. And I was just sitting with myself, making sure that I was okay. Checking my blood pressure, making sure nothing was necrosis, anything occurring anywhere. Making checking my back, make sure my back is okay. And someone bust into the room, accusing me of doing something, and I'm just like, oh, what is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? What is this? Why? And I'm tired of referencing it and calling it out, but like I really am continually praying and asking the Lord for an understanding about why that happened or how I can let it go. And the answer is to to grow a garden, especially now that done doing the work. I've gotten a lot of the snakes out, and I shall have my peace. You know, it's been a long time waiting for the tide to turn, but now that it's going in a different direction, and it's amazing because at the same time, what's happening in the world is a complete opposite from my inner, projection that is occurring at the same time that this is occurring. But as I've said, I've had premonitions for a long time. I saw martial law, I saw the cars and the way that they were progressed before I actually saw the cars being made the way they are now. I actually freaked out because I had a premonition that I was going to see a Ford truck and I was a Chevy, not a Ford, I'm not a Chevy, but a Ford Explorer or Escape that was going to be used as police cars. I didn't know that they were going to use a car that looked like the way it did at the time that I saw it. And it was exactly as I saw it in my dream. I'm sitting there driving, then it pulls up on my left, it's white. And I saw a mall area, which I rarely ever drive by because it's so far north from me. It's almost an hour and a half from me. So it was very random that I was out there, random to me. And as I was driving and I looked to my left, I started crying. I pulled over at like an IHOP or some parking lot and started crying because I knew that here we are. The P boys are feeling prideful. They're organizing almost every month, every week now, local, nearby. I try not to have that type of fear, but that's why I believe he gave me so many visions for so long because he said, I know that you're really sensitive, but I want you to live. Don't choose to be weak. Don't become faint of heart just because there's illusions happening on this earth and in this world. You know, is it okay if I sent you my YouTube channel link here in chat? I have another one that is my Muslim, and I post about what my religion is to me. His first name is called Khalid, and the last name is Sadiq. Okay, Khalid Sadiq. I'm on the child prayer too. Probably prayer with Zaki. That's the one I use. I'm only new in the local Muslims living our way. I think it was with that person here. And yeah, so like, please share, please share. You know, the title of this post is sensationalism. I didn't actually know what I wanted to name this video because I haven't been on YouTube very much. Like I said, I've been sticking to myself. I've been doing a lot of things without really telling people or patting myself in the back. I'm just hoping that I'm doing enough. Um, and I'm hoping that I'm doing the right things. And I hope that I'm adjusting myself in the perfect way, And there's a lot of things I had to learn and accept about myself. It was like one day I woke up and something made sense that for a long time I was battling. And just one day I woke up and I said, I'm done fight. I'm done trying to fight it. I'm done struggling with it. I get it now. I get it. And I'm okay with it. But I also had to learn how that influences me, how that acceptance influences and change the things that I once thought I was going to go and pursue, right? Now I'm going to click show this. This health review. Error, try again. Well, I can see it, but I can't choose to do it for others, I guess you would say. I've been here for an hour. We've been here for an hour. Wow. Abdul Hamid. Mashallah. I'm listening. And you say this is you? What's wrong with the video quality? I don't know what you're talking about. It's fine quality. I mostly though I use YouTube to inform and find that helps me understand and understand myself. Absolutely the same. I've been using the internet as a resource for sociology, for learning and understanding, and just being in the space of being able to accept what I am myself. Like, I grew up around people who were sort of close minded. They were close minded. And they were very closed in towards differences. Now, part of this was because except it was kind of like the Croods. I couldn't remember the Croods. 2013. Wow, American computer animated adventure comedy film produced by DreamWorks Animation and distributed by 20th Century Fox, which is about a family, a cave dwelling people, cave living people, and it was, they had a grandmama, the mom, and the dad, a brother, the sister, and I believe maybe someone else, and a dog, or well, not a dog, excuse me. They had a person who kind of behaved like a pet, and it might have been the grandmama. Not sure, I can't remember. But it was a very playful move, a depiction about people who were afraid of change because life outside the cave is so scary. And that's kind of how, like, when Black and Native American people got to a place where they can reasonably expect there not to be fire on the line, and men in cotton that they pick being worn on their heads, and you know they sort of got like, well, we don't want to go nowhere else. Once they got to a place and settled, they was like, we don't want to go nowhere else. They stopped being nomadic. They stopped being innovative. They stopped trying to pursue other options and avenues. Once they got into a place, they said, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it steady. We're going to do it straight. Wow, you didn't have to tell me that. I don't know if I should repeat it. Ooh. Abdul Hamid, servant of the praiseworthy. Mm-hmm. Um, I won't say mine here, but my name is Xavier Alexander, and I remember when I first wanted to change my name, I was tired of being hurt. I was very tired of being hurt, and I was a young person, and I sat down and I did like this, because I said I need to protect myself, and I just like something took over. Well, The higher version of me took over. The more knowing, more knowledgeable version of me took over. Basically, like, oh, I injured my knee. Well, instinctively, I know to grab it and to some people don't have that sense. But I was going through something so much, and I was so tired of feeling that way, and I just got down and I did like this, and I just started to pray, and I just kept reciting every prayer that I could remember, and I was just like, protect me, protect me, protect me, and I just remember doing this, and I was like, X, Xavier, Alexander, and I just kept. I don't know why I just kept saying X to myself, just because I wanted to obsessively get my mind off of what was bothering me, and my name means what God's new house, or I was told by an Indian family, Indian from another continent, um, that Xavier meant God, and my middle name means defender, warrior, protector, and that's exactly how I felt. It was weird because before I was, alerted that that's what my name meant. That's what I wanted the sentiment of my name for myself to be, as a protector, as a signal that I am strong, I am wise, I am dependable, and I am a protector. A little weird, a little quirky, but everything I just said. And I wanted to believe more than ever that God is in my life, because I went through an upbringing where people was constantly telling me God doesn't love me, God is never going to accept me, God doesn't like me, God is this being who created me and said you're an abomination, and I can't bring you back. When I already had known I was a reincarnation who had been rested, I had been put, I'd had my eternal peace, but He said I need you to come back. And I just find it interesting that some of us, we think we're just choosing a name because it feels better, or because it just feels like it's more suitable. A lot of us didn't even look up the meaning of our names, but they happened to us. Our names happened to us. Our names chose us. You know, I remember choosing to come to a specific, some certain set of circumstances, or to a specific family, or choosing to be born and choosing to survive. And then I had another relative say the same thing to me, that he remembered choosing life, choosing, you know, what he was as an angel. And I remember wishing for so long that I wasn't born, and I had this spiritual pain for a long time. It wasn't nothing in my body. I was just in pain. And then I remember growing hurts. Growing pains hurt. That's why you call it growing pains. Growing hurts. And I had to accept this new physical limitation and format. And I said, why did you? I remember I was like 8 years old, and I used to pray, why did you bring me back? Why there was a poem that said, why did you make me black, Lord? I said, why did you bring me back? I remember the freedom I had. I remember the limitlessness. Why did you bring me back here? And I had been learning to get over my disdain, my discomfort. Because ultimately, it's just the discomfort in itself. Am I going to be able to fulfill what He wishes for me to fulfill? Will I be a part of His administration and ministry? Again, will I let go of this? Again, to not come back and have any returns? Again. So 2021 is really just, like I said, about maintaining these kind of spaces. Why should we have to deal with burdens that He never assigned for us? Just because we don't feel comfortable taking into ourselves and onto ourselves and sharing that with others. So I really appreciate you, though, sharing with me your religion and sharing with me your page, because I'm going to check it out, and I'm going to message you and talk to you. I'm going to take that to heart and take it with me in my travels. I'm going to share that with others. I'm going to spread seed wherever I shall go, and whatever shall come to me, they will know. Someone like yourself shared this with me because you want salvation for all, just as God would want you to bestow upon. So many weird experiences, like in the early thousands, and the hatred and the shaming that many people experienced who had no idea what was even going on in another part of the world. And people talk about why are you so interested in, because I've had so many experiences. Like, I've been accused of being a trans woman. I've been accused of being a cross dresser. I've been accused of being an adult when I was a child. I've been accused of being a child as an adult. I've been accused of being a Muslim person based on, I wore scars. And my cheekbones, my facial hair, before even facial hair, my cheekbones, really, my skin tone, and me wearing wraps. People, I remember my relatives warning me, don't go outside like that. And sure enough, I went outside and I heard, it's your fault. And I knew the next time I went to school, when I saw that Muslim girl, I didn't want to touch her, but I did want to like put my hand on her and go like, I hope you understand this, because people, I could just see the fear she had. She wanted to run, and I remember like 4 or 5 of us getting behind her as she walked down the hallway, because people were just so they were punks, doing stuff at her as if she was somebody who was in on that. But ain't nobody, are these folk going chasing after one another when they start bombing? No. Are they going chasing after one another when they start shooting us up? No. But everybody that's like this, if you right here and darker, they chasing after you, and you're responsible. You're responsible. You need to do this. You need to do that. What about y'all colonizing the world in an unhealthy manner? I don't want to talk to you no more. I really don't. I don't want to talk to you no more. So anyway, I think I'm gonna sign off now. I appreciate you. So like you said, we're gonna chat with each other at a later date. But like, thank y'all for showing up. Like I said, I don't make content the way I used to. I didn't want people to pull me into the waves of the world and getting caught up with the popularity and how many subscribers and how many likes and did I get this sponsorship and did I get this and did I get that. It's like there was a sensationalism that was starting to occur, and I didn't want it to gain traction. Like, no, I'm still a person. Don't put me on this pedestal, this social media, this justice pedestal, this activist pedestal, baby. I'm here by myself for the most part, just espousing what I'm experiencing and going through. That was how I started my channel. My most private videos are gone. They're deleted and lost. However, I didn't start my YouTube channel because I wanted to make it a career. I started in 2008. It's 2020. And I started in 2008 because I said to myself, once I turn 18, I make my own choice, and I would like to be honest about that. About what I'm experiencing, what I have been experiencing, and what I'm going through, and what I was learning scientifically about what it means to be I'm going to say like an intersex spectrum person, where it's going from different parts of the gonads, different parts of the external to the internal parts of the body, and that sex is in the brain as much as it is anywhere else. But also recognizing for myself, science is not my God. There's a lot we can learn through science, and there are things in science that God definitely approves of. And there's also, like he said, there's injustice, there was wickedness, and in the room of evil, there was wickedness. So either way, he's going to make time for the judgment of both, So I was never like just trying to get I didn't expect acceptance. Before I got on YouTube, I was writing on LiveJournal for years. This is before Tumblr. I was on LiveJournal for years. I was making Angel Fire websites, and I was teaching other people how to make Angel Fire websites for years. And I was using that as a blog, independently, anonymously, not attaching my name or signature to it. And I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm still reading you. Oh, I don't know why I said new. I said new comments. However, like I said though, I'm about to roll out. I know I said I was going to make this list, but the list is in my mind. I don't speak very well, in a chronological order, just because. Why? For what? Like that's more that centricism says you should do it like this and you gotta do it like that. And maybe I don't want to talk to you. You're tight right now. It's okay. I'll bring it back. I'll start making those cute videos again that people like so much. But I've been working and I've been learning, I've been instructing, I've been sharing, and I've also been trying to, stay in a loving attitude and space and find my people and find my garden. So I do encourage you if there's anything on the internet that you enjoy, rip it, burn it on a CD, and put it on a media drive if you can, and keep it for your safekeeping. Um, get some walkie talkies, get some coolers, get a dog, train it, get people around you that you can trust when you go to sleep. You know what I mean? So I wish you all the best benevolence in the world and in yourself. Be its keeper. But also, like they say, there's a time for everything. And it will be judged accordingly. But there are some people who can't make up for the things that they done because they know they didn't do it from the right place in the first place. People make mistakes. And people sometimes have to do what is necessary. And that too is a mistake. Um, but like we say, God judges accordingly, and be not in the way of judging others and mirroring them when you start to judge, because you don't know what's going to happen. They say there's nobody that can say from beginning to end, right? But I appreciate you and I thank you, and we'll talk later. Mm. Hey, watch this.